You're listening to an Ono Media podcast.
Good morning, and thanks for joining me for Rise in Crime, your morning caffeine hit all about crime. I'm Mama Jules, and let's head on over to Seattle, specifically the Lake Alice area, where a 15-year-old boy has been charged with killing all but one member of his family. The calculated and horrific scene unfolded a week ago when the boy, who isn't being named by police because he's being charged as a juvenile, well, he called 911. So let's call this boy A. I've seen his name reported in several major media outlets, so if you want to find it out, you can. But here at Rise in Crime, we're going to honor the way the law in Washington has chosen to handle the situation, which is, if the child is charged in juvenile court, then the name is not released. So here, we're just going to call him A. In that 911 call placed by A at 5 o'clock in the morning, charging documents say A told the dispatcher that his 13-year-old brother Benjamin had shot and killed his parents and his 3 siblings. He then said that Benjamin had turned the gun on himself and completed suicide. A told the dispatcher he was hiding in the bathroom. As A was explaining the situation to the 911 operator, another call came in from the house next door to A's house. That caller told dispatch that an 11-year-old girl who lives next door had shown up that morning at their house and repeatedly rang the doorbell until someone in the house answered the door. She told the neighbors that her brother A had shot and killed his entire family. Charging documents say the girl heard gunshots in her home in those early morning hours, and she had crept to the hallway of the home where she saw her brother and father lying on the floor covered in blood. Leaning over her family's dead bodies was her brother A. She said she saw him checking their necks to see if they were alive. Now, her 7-year-old sister was sleeping in the same room on the bottom bunk, and as she came out into the hallway, A shot the little sister. He then shot her when she retreated back into the bedroom. So I hope you're following this here. We've got dad and a brother apparently dead in a hallway. We've got 11-year-old sister who sees A leaning over those bodies. Then the 7-year-old sister comes out into the hallway. A, according to the 11-year-old girl, shoots the 7-year-old girl, and the 11-year-old girl retreats back into her bedroom. Now, she goes on to tell authorities that when she went back into the bedroom, A shot her, that she had laid on the ground wounded, holding her breath and playing dead. Now, when her brother left her bedroom, he probably thought she was dead. She had snuck out the window and ran to the neighbor's home. As she crossed in front of the house to get to the neighbors, she could see through the large picturesque windows that her brother A was talking with someone on the phone. So we now know that was probably when A was making the 911 call filled with these alleged lies. When that 11-year-old girl was found by the neighbor on the front porch of the neighbor's home, she had bleeding wounds to her hand and to her neck. Charging documents say the girl was terrified her brother A would find her and try to finish killing her. Now, as county sheriff's deputies arrived at the home, they detained A in the driveway. When they entered the house, they found 5 members of the family dead, all from gunshot wounds. A's brother Benjamin, so that's the one A allegedly tried to frame in the made-up murder-suicide plot, well, he was found with a gunshot wound to his head, and in his left hand that was resting on his chest was a Glock handgun. Now, A's father, Mark Humiston, was found with 4 gunshot wounds, one to the shoulder, one to the armpit, then one in his lower back, and finally, one to the back of his head. A's mother, Sarah Humiston, was found dead in the bathroom. The door frame of the bathroom was splintered, and it appeared that the door had probably been locked but then forced open. Also found dead in the hallway was 7-year-old Catherine Humiston. Okay, that's the one that was sleeping on the bottom bunk. And then 9-year-old Joshua Humiston, he was found dead, but the location inside of the home where Joshua was, it wasn't reported on or at least made public. Now, once the medical examiner was able to review the wounds to the bodies, it was quickly determined that the head wound to Benjamin, okay, remember, he's the one A tried to say killed everyone and then turned the gun on himself. Well, the ME said that wound was made from a distance of further than 2 feet away, which means suicide is unlikely. When the surviving sister was interviewed by authorities, she said her father kept a Glock handgun in a box that was sometimes stored by the front door. And according to charging documents, she told investigators that A was the only child in the home who knew the combination to the locked box. She also told investigators that her brother A was in trouble a lot at home. She said he'd been failing his tests and not completing his schoolwork. Now, I'm going to warn you here. I've seen lots of rumors about what else might have been going on inside the Humiston home. But right now, it is still so early, and I'm not going to entertain those rumors here at Rise in Crime. I'm only reporting what was available in the charging documents. Now, we can watch as this case progresses and see if more information about the home life is released, but right now, this is what we have. We do know this, though. Sarah, the 42-year-old mother, was a registered nurse who had let her license expire in 2022. It appears that she was just busy being a stay-at-home mom. And Mark, the 43-year-old father, was a longtime electrical engineer at Hargis Engineers in Seattle. And A's little sister, who was so brave to escape that nightmare, well, she has been treated and released from a local hospital. So you might be asking, why isn't A being charged as an adult? Okay, believe me, I found plenty of online back and forth chatter about how he should be or he shouldn't be. Well, here's how it works in Washington. A is being housed in the King County Youth Jail, but the prosecutors, after filing the juvenile charges, have asked for a discretionary decline hearing. Now, that's where they're going to make an argument before the judge in the juvenile court to decline the automatic juvenile jurisdiction, and instead they're going to request that A be tried as an adult. However, don't expect that to happen in the next few days. The case will be reviewed, and it could take a few months before the charges are altered or before the judge says, nah, he's staying in the juvenile court system. Now, in Washington, 16 and 17-year-olds can be automatically tried as adults, but A is 15 years old, and so the discretionary decline hearing is required. Now, if the 5 counts of murder are held over to the juvenile court system, A would be released at age 25 if he's found guilty of murder. Now, if convicted in adult court, he could be sentenced anywhere from 25 to life for the various murder charges. A's attorneys released a statement saying that A has no prior criminal history and that he is just a teen boy who enjoys mountain biking and fishing. And so I'll just keep watch on this case. I'll let you know as more comes out. And now this update to the murder case out of Utah that I brought you on the October 10th episode of Rise in Crime, where that episode had 41-year-old Jennifer Gledhill being arrested and charged with her guardsman husband's murder. Well, now her parents are arrested as well. Here's what we know. All of this was brought out about 2 weeks ago. 51-year-old Matthew Johnson was a decorated member of the United States Military Special Operations Unit who was now working through the National Guard in Utah. He's longtime military. So when he didn't show up for work on September 23rd, people were really concerned. They're concerned because he's prompt and reliable. But also, some knew him well enough that they were concerned because his personal life wasn't really going all that great. Matthew and Jennifer were in the midst of a divorce. Yet they were still living together in their Cottonwood Heights home with their 3 children, ages 11, 7, and 5. The divorce proceedings had been contentious. Jennifer had tried to file a temporary protective order citing abuse in the marriage and also concerns about her and her kids' safety. But the courts, they didn't buy it, ruling that there was no evidence of abuse. Instead, the courts ruled the marriage was highly dysfunctional, with both Jennifer and Matthew engaging in confrontational behavior. So we have Matthew not showing for work and Jennifer acting rather suspiciously when she finally reports Matthew missing. Once Cottonwood Heights police started investigating the disappearance, things just weren't adding up for them when it came to Jennifer. She claimed to know nothing about where Matthew was or what had led up to his disappearance. But she was doing weird things, like getting a new mattress and deep cleaning her home. She also wasn't calling Matthew's phone. She wasn't trying to reach out to him despite lots of calls and texts prior to the disappearance between the two. And the timeline's important here. She stopped calling and texting on September 21st. not September 25th, when he was reported missing. Now, this whole case broke open when Jennifer's extramarital lover stepped forward and told the police he was pretty sure Jennifer was involved. Now, the extramarital lover told police that just 8 days before Matthew was reported missing, Matthew and Jennifer had the fight of all fights. Matthew had confronted Jennifer about her indiscretions outside of their marriage, and the marital discussion didn't go so well. He then said that the next day, Jennifer had shot Matthew while he slept in bed. She allegedly admitted to her lover that after shooting Matthew, she had moved his body into a rooftop storage container and then slid him down the stairs. She then loaded Matthew into the back of the family minivan, heading north of Cottonwood Heights, and once she felt secluded enough, she had buried his body in a shallow grave. He then told authorities she admitted to smashing and destroying Matthew's phone, and she allegedly drove his truck to a different part of their suburban neighborhood, and she walked back home. She then drove her minivan to the car wash, where she was caught on surveillance cameras, thoroughly cleaning the interior and exterior of the van. Well, police went on and arrested Jennifer and charged her with first-degree murder, 5 counts of second-degree felony obstruction of justice, and also felony drug charges, witness tampering charges, and desecration of the human body. Now, when they began gathering evidence, they tracked her phone to the location of Matthew's abandoned truck, but they couldn't track the GPS to a sort of shallow grave somewhere north. She had turned off her phone. There was no evidence there. And it's important to note, Matthew's body has still yet to be found. When the police pressured Jennifer's lover about why he hadn't come forward sooner with the information, he said he wasn't sure Jennifer was even telling him the truth about Matthew. He said Jennifer was the kind of person that if she heard a story like that, she would say, "Hey, let me grab a shovel and we'll go take care of this and I won't tell anyone." But he said he didn't respond that way. He instead was trying to kind of figure out if the story was even plausible. Now, this isn't just a he said, she said scenario, though. Right now, it looks like that, right? But the boyfriend had receipts. He provided screenshots and phone recordings implicating Jennifer in the story he was telling the authorities. When cops finally searched the couple's home, they found a new mattress in the primary bedroom and trace reddish brown spots on the wall and on the bed frame. Investigators could tell the carpet under the bed had been cleaned, but it still tested positive for male human blood. Police also said they found bleach stains on the wall behind the bed and also on the stairs. Now, when neighbors of the couple were interviewed, they told police that Jennifer's parents had been helping her clean her home until about midnight on September 24th. Okay, remember the timeline. He was reported missing by his coworkers at the National Guard on the 25th, but communication via cell phones between Jennifer and Matthew, well, that stopped on September 21st. When investigators interviewed Jennifer's parents, they claimed they had only been at the home for 1 hour on the 24th, cleaning. Authorities secured a search warrant for Jennifer's parents' home, where they found a Glock handgun box wrapped in a child's onesie, and that box was stored near where Jennifer sleeps if she stays at her parents' home. That Glock handgun box matched the weapon that Jennifer had shown her boyfriend before the alleged murder. And now, late last week, Jennifer's parents, 71-year-old Thomas Gledhill and 67-year-old Rosalie Gledhill, well, they were arrested and charged with obstructing justice. Now, the arrest seemed important not only because authorities believe a crime was committed, but also because there are 3 children who need to be, sheltered from this situation. The Salt Lake County Deputy District Attorney, Chantel Argyle, told the court that the 3 kids might be in harm because they're being used to obstruct justice. DA Argyle noted that the children could be witnesses and the parents could be witnesses, and that they shouldn't be interacting with each other at this point in time, nor should the children be interacting with their mother. Now, in rebuttal to this, Jennifer's attorney said that this protective order was unnecessary because Jennifer is being held without bond, and that means if the kids do go to the jail and see their mother, it will only be on a supervised basis. Well, this argument went back and forth between the two sides, and eventually a protective order was signed, and Jennifer will not be allowed to see her kids. She also can't send communication through others to her kids. Then Jennifer's parents were addressed. Authorities allege the parents were the ones to buy the new mattress meant to replace the blood-soaked old mattress. And when Mr. Gledhill was interviewed, he said he didn't remember all the details from the day of the cleaning at Jennifer's home, except he was sure he wasn't there for very long and that he did not go into the room where, quote, the incident happened. Yep, he slipped up and called it an incident. And another piece of suspicious evidence, or maybe there's lack thereof, was Miss Gledhill's phone. Police are saying Jennifer's mother did a factory reset on her phone. So all of the data was wiped that had been there during all of this incident, according to Mr. Gledhill, or the murder of Matthew. Now, Mr. Gledhill's phone did have evidence of communication between Jennifer and him on the day that it was believed Jennifer drove Matthew's body to a secluded area and buried it in a shallow grave. The last call on that day made on Jennifer's phone was to her father. Her phone was then turned off for several hours. When the phone was turned back on, the first immediate call was from Jennifer's phone to her father's again. So directly before and after the phone was turned off, there was communication between the two phones. I'll be watching to let you know how this case moves forward. And I'm just going to throw this out there. As I researched this case, all I could think about was I hope someone is hugging those 3 children more than they think is necessary. Now, should we stay in Utah? Because we've got a story where a male Karen demanded a man be arrested for, are you ready for this? Driving too close to him. Okay, this all went down in Park City, Utah at the end of September when 73-year-old Gary Peacock was riding his bike on a road near the skate park. As 22-year-old Pierce Kempton drove past the cyclist, he had his dash cam running. So the whole thing was caught on camera. As Pierce parked his white Subaru in the parking lot of the skate park, Gary approached the Subaru and demands that Pierce get out of the car. So I'm going to play Pierce's TikTok so you can hear this man just totally lose his mind. You guys, if you haven't seen this, you're going to be shocked.
Pulled off to the side, I did. I have it on dash cam. I'm going to go skate.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. You're not. You're not going anywhere until the police come.
Dude, stop.
No, you're a fucking...
Dude, literally stop.
No, I'm calling the police and you're not leaving. You're not leaving.
Bro's got his fucking hands on me and stuff.
Yeah, guy
Why?
won't leave because of the police.
Look at this dude.
I'm calling the police. That's
Dude,
it.
why are you so cranky?
No, you're not going anywhere.
Oh my God.
You're not going anywhere.
I don't want to be aggressive with you, dude.
You already are. You pushed into me. I asked you to wait. You didn't wait.
Push into
You did. How'd you get out of the car?
You yanked my
Yeah,
gun.
I've got a very aggressive teenager here that almost hit me in the car, and now he won't give me his last name, and now he's trying to leave. I'm in Park City, near the Park City Park.
We're at the skate park.
The skate park.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a Subaru.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the license plate. The license plate is, and he's recording me because he's a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to come and give this guy a ticket. I'd be willing to testify in court against this guy.
Okay.
He came way too close to me. He did not hit me. There's a law in Utah that says you have to stay 3 feet from a cyclist. He did not. He just went right next to me. I wouldn't bother pulling over if this guy weren't unsafe. Yes, I'm still on my bicycle. He's here. Gary Peacock, you send a policeman for this guy right now. Yes, he tried to leave. He said he was leaving.
I said I was going to skate.
You said you were leaving.
I have it on video,
Go
dude.
ahead.
Putting
You're
words
lying
in my
left and
mouth.
right, pal. It's all on video. You tried to leave. You said, I'm leaving.
I said I'm going to skate.
That's the same thing.
I didn't say I'm leaving.
Oh, he was leaving. So could you please send a policeman? He's just being aggressive, and you leave. You're
He
not
put his
part of
hands
this.
on me. I would stay if I were you.
Yeah, there's another individual, and he's just standing there. I'd like to get rid of him.
You think I was in your space over there?
Yes.
Then
I'm riding a bike. I have more rights than you.
what, dude?
I have the right of way.
We share a road.
I have the right of way when I'm on a bike. Do you ride a bike?
Sometimes.
Oh, you don't ride a bike. Obviously, you wouldn't have been so close to me if you did. When are the police coming, please? We'll see if you have any arrests, pal. We'll see if you have any arrests and see what happens.
Arrest?
Or other tickets or anything. Yeah, arrest.
I have a clean record.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The police are going to check your clean record.
Perfect.
The other guy, it won't leave. He's just standing here. He's standing there, but I don't feel safe with both of them here. Just leave. Please leave. I'm asking you to leave.
As a friend, he's gonna stay.
He's staying because these two are trying to intimidate me. This guy tried to leave. This guy came and he's trying to intimidate me.
Well, here they come. Do you hear them?
They're coming. They're coming. If I have it my way, you're going to jail.
Okay.
I'll press charges against you.
Perfect.
Okay, let's clear some things up here. The two boys, well, they're not being aggressive at all. And I mean at all. When Gary says he's being intimidated by the two boys, he must be intimidated by ladybugs also, because these boys aren't doing anything. Now, after the police arrived, both parties were cited. You heard that right. Gary got an infraction, and so did Pierce. Court records show that Gary received a disorderly conduct citation, and he has since paid his $160 fine. And for Pierce? Well, he was cited with passing too closely, and he was supposed to pay a $130 fine. Now, Gary was correct that Pierce needed to be 3 feet away from him when he passed him. But to say he has more rights than a driver, well, that's a little much. And since this video went viral on TikTok, Pierce has shared another video with a screenshot of an email stating that his fine was dismissed because Pierce had provided his dash cam video, which the court deemed was exculpatory evidence, proving he was further than 3 feet from Gary. Now, Gary did admit later that Pierce was a recipient of his wrath because he had been experiencing multiple close calls while cycling previously, and that's why he basically went off on Pierce. It was a whole bunch of pent-up anger over close calls. Okay, I'm going to be honest here. It's hard to not like Pierce. This kid is just like so relaxed and level-headed. And when I found out he's now selling t-shirts that read, "Dude, why are you so cranky?" And then other t-shirts that say, "Do you ride a bike?" "Sometimes." Well, those are written on the t-shirts. And since I found out he's selling those, I like him even more. If you want to follow Pierce on TikTok, his profile name is Pez Kempton. PezKempton. And now we'll finish out in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where a liquor store became the scene of a crime. Okay, that's not weird, right? But it's not for the reasons you might imagine. See, a 911 caller last week phoned emergency services to report that he hadn't been present when a shooting had occurred, but that he had heard a single gunshot, and when he came looking for the disturbance, he found a man shot behind the counter of the Action Food and Liquor store. When 2 Milwaukee police officers arrived, they found 26-year-old Jamil Awies lying unresponsive behind the counter, and he had a single gunshot wound to his chest. Officers attempted CPR, but Jamil did not respond, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. So what went wrong? Well, officers could tell it wasn't a robbery. They quickly learned also that the shooter and Jamil probably didn't know each other. All they knew was that the shooter came into the store, held a conversation with Jamil. Then Jamil let the cook in the back know they had a pizza order to prepare. The cook said he saw the shooter, but his face was kind of obstructed by some of the shelves and the kitchen equipment like vents and pans. Weirdly, though, the shooter had come into the kitchen, presumably to, I guess, check on his pizza that was being prepared. Then a few minutes later, there was one gunshot and Jamil was dead. Investigators grabbed the surveillance camera footage, hoping that could explain why all this went down. And guess what? It led them to the shooter. Footage showed a man arriving in a Nissan Sentra. He entered the store and placed a pizza order. A few moments later, the shooter made his way to the back of the store. See, all of this is matching up. And then moments later, he returned to the front of the store and began talking with Jamil. That's when the shooter gets animated. He's upset about something, and the shooter pulls a gun from his pocket, places the gun directly in contact with Jamil's chest, and pulls the trigger. The shooter then fled in the Nissan. Now, this camera system is legit. It's high quality, and investigators had a clear picture of the assailant. Using facial recognition, the detectives quickly discovered their murderer was 37-year-old Charles Leger. They had previous booking photos to compare because Charles didn't have the clearest of records. So they know who he is, and they started tracking the Nissan Sentra, and they found that Nissan Sentra at an apartment building. And there they saw Charles and a female friend exit the Sentra. It was definitely Charles. Except now, Charles didn't have a beard. Somewhere between the shooting and the tracking of the Nissan, Charles had shaved his face, but he'd done a pretty poor job of it. He was sporting a bandage on his chin where he had cut himself. Now, police, they didn't waste any time, and they arrested Charles on the spot. And that's when Charles told them everything. He said he had taken his female friend's gun into the liquor store. He allegedly confessed that when he wandered to the back of the store, he saw the cook making his pizza without gloves. The cook was touching Charles' food with bare hands. That's when Charles went back up front and demanded that Jamal have a different employee remake the pizza while wearing gloves. Charles said he and Jamal argued for a moment before he told him he'd better fix it or he would do something. When asked by the detectives what that something was, Charles admitted that he shot Jamal. Now, detectives showed Charles the high-resolution camera footage, and he confirmed that he was the guy in the footage. He also verified that Jamal did not have a weapon when Charles shot him. Charles is being held on $200,000 bond, and he's been charged with first-degree reckless homicide. He does have previous convictions, like I mentioned, mostly for dealing heroin. You guys, it was pizza. Just go get your money back. It wasn't worth the death of Jamal. All right, that's your Monday episode of Rise in Crime. Thanks for joining me on Rise in Crime. I have a special favor to ask. If you haven't gone on to whatever platform you listen on, whether it be Spotify, Apple, whatever, would you please go there and leave a 5-star review and a positive comment? I love to see the podcast grow, and that always helps it. You could also follow us on all of our social media. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hi guys, make sure you leave a comment and help this video grow. That would be so great. We love all of our podcasts here at Oh No Media. Quick reminder, that's Rise in Crime, Into the Dark, and Murder with My Husband. You can join me again on Thursday for more morning crime news. I'm Mama Jules, and keep safe out there.